you need to know?
Well, let's just go. We'll just.
Okay.
This is Linda Barnes. Today is June 22nd. We're interviewing Adrienne Brockman, who worked with Margaret Fritsch in the late 50s. We're going to be asking her questions about the projects they worked on and anything else. She has kept in contact with Margaret Fritsch through the years.
Any good stories we can...
Right.
I can tell you something interesting, which makes you wonder about genetics. Her mother married and came across from Ohio to Oregon in an ox-drawn cart. Her husband died. She went back to Ohio. She married somebody else who wanted another man who happened to be Margaret's father. And they came out by ox-drawn cart to Oregon. And Margaret was, I mean, that is really pioneering, you know, and here's Margaret at age 64 taking on a job and moving to Alaska. You know, most 64-year-olds, so you have to wonder about genetics.
Right.
What role it plays in the pioneering spirit in this case.
I also saw that her father was a state purchasing agent or something that
You're
sounded,
right.
yeah, that sounded like he was fairly high up in the state government.
I've forgotten.
And it would seem like that had some impact on her activities and planning and her involvement in the bureaucracy.
Did she...
Her maiden name was Gooden.
Okay.
And Mel Gooden Tires, I believe, was her cousin.
Did she marry right out of school?
I don't know that. She never, her husband died very early on, and she never really talked much about it. Not because she was hiding, she wasn't that kind of person, she was such a forward going person all the time. I think that's why none of us know a whole lot about her, because she didn't really look back. You know, she was always out doing. She was 80-something, and she inherited a little money. Now, what would you do with it at 80? I'd sock it in the bank for medical bills, not her. She had a second house onto her cabin, which involved stairs, and she, instead of a bed, she had a futon. And now she's 80-something at this point. I mean, I was horrified. Stairs, on a futon, getting up off the,
floor,
right.
Right. The other thing we didn't have, she has a quote in that Juno article about that during when the war came, or when modern architecture came, she sort of lost her interest in architecture and became more interested in planning.
Interesting.
And a lot of it was because she said everything was stock, meaning things got away from the more detailed work. Any other discussion of why she turned to planning? I mean, she spent, almost 15 years at the Housing Authority.
No, I never questioned her about that.
It was the Portland Housing Authority, not
Right.
Vancouver. Okay.
Right.
Did we ever decide who was responsible for Vanport, or was that a joint project?
There were so many people involved, and everybody I talked to, I couldn't nail it down. The ideas started with Kaiser and some of the government type things, and I couldn't nail that down. We asked Margaret. We also asked people who had worked with her. I have a whole list of about 3 or 4 more people to contact at the Housing Authority, who may or may not have known Margaret, and I just haven't been able to get through all those names. She had her own firm.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, in the 30s. So not long after she was licensed, she had her own firm, and that was in one of those newspaper articles that you pulled. It said designer and her own firm, and had worked for other architects.
And she did primarily residential stuff?
Residential, and she was doing a lot of the Tridel houses.
Sorority houses.
Sorority houses. I mean, they were a good supporter of hers. She did work for them back east, and she did work in Oregon for them. I mean, that's nice to see that women are supporting women. And then she had a lot of partnerships with other men, too. Fritsch and Kozlowski, and she was a partner with Harlan Nelson Associates in Lake Oswego.
Oh, that's much more complete than I have.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. A lot of this is information from Adrienne. Okay. And so you should see if I've got it down right. What's hard, since she didn't have a family.
Well, she does have a daughter.
She has a daughter.
Okay, I didn't know she had a daughter.
I wanted to ask about that because she said my family wants me to come back to Portland. I was like, well, older or younger brothers or sisters? Who are we talking about here?
She adopted, you pioneer. She adopted a woman in high school, when she was in high school. And I could get you in contact with Dorothy. Dorothy Krebs, Hildegard, her husband's name is Hildegard, Hildy. They live in Bend, or in Sisters. We could get in contact with Dorothy. I know Dorothy, of course. I can't imagine she's going to give that much.
Yeah. The trick at this point is we either need stories that help, or we need visuals of projects. And both of those have been really difficult to find. I found some advisory committees and things she was on besides the EIA. One of those articles mentioned that she was active in the Volunteers of America and the chair of their Brandon home for working girls. I mean, I forgot about that whole movement of where they did housing for working girls. And
Is that how she met her daughter?
I don't know.
I
It might
was
have
wondering the
been.
same thing. Yeah, we'll see here.
And then what did she run? Oh, that was. Oh, was that a position you had to run for?
No, not. She's
her
now
planning.
retired. Or when did she do this? I think she did it after she retired and sent this to me. And I
see.
put it in my Alaska scrapbook.
I see. That's Borough Assembly. she was
Yeah,
running.
re-elected official, right.
She was president of the Columbia River chapter of the National Association of Housing Officials, and that was housing officials for both Portland and Vancouver and a large area. So she was very active civically, but we don't have a lot of that information, just bits and pieces.
National Association of Planning and
okay,
Urban
that's all
Renewal
her
Officials
stuff,
and
great.
Urban Land Institute.
Okay.
And
Girl Scouts.
Didn't she do
Sir
work for the
Optimus?
Girl? She did work for the Girl Scouts. I thought
have-
she designed a plan for one of their camps.
I didn't have that anywhere.
What if I made that up? I might have made it up for someone else.
It must be in
Not
that other
there.
article. No? Okay.
I've known of it.
Yeah, I never
I'm
saw
just
that.
racking my brain. See now, come to think of it, she did some stuff for Mel Gooden.
Mel's a cousin of hers?
Yeah, he's dead now though. But I remember her designing. Are there any older architects in town that are still faculty?
That's the problem. Beluski would have been a good one. But,
Yeah, he's apparently according to his wife.
yeah, he's in and out.
Yeah.
You mentioned Baldwin, Robert
I
Baldwin.
called Bob.
Did you call Bob? And didn't.
He said that nothing that they had worked on came to fruition. They did a lot of urban renewal projects, but city council would not go ahead with them.
Yeah, but I also found, these are pictures of the Slavin Court.
Oh,
I had
great.
one down as I've got some site plans stuff. Actually, this is sort of a nice professional photograph. But the only thing I'm not sure of is I found in the newsletter when they were talking about Slavin Court, they said that they used the same units as were used on other things. So I have a feeling she may not have designed them. She strictly did the planning and
Site
stuff.
plan.
That's sort of more
I
of it.
remember those.
Actually, I like them with the old cars because then you get an idea of what they
This
did.
was all temporary
This
workers'
was
housing?
temporary workers' housing.
Okay.
The nice thing about all the temporary housing that the Housing Authority did back then in the 40s, they always had child care. And all of that,
Interesting.
They had a lot of child care facilities, and that's something that it's just now coming back in. So here's some information about this Slavin
Oh,
Court.
that's great.
And her name was also listed under the Gartrell group, but from what I can tell of those, they're single lots that the housing authority owned throughout the city, and then they just put these little houses on them. So even though a whole group of architects are listed, I have a feeling it's not a customized design. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a woman at the housing authority did this for me. They had a huge stack of newsletters for the housing authority, and she went through and pulled out everything that said Margaret Fritsch. So, like, here's an article by Margaret about the Fulton homes.
Oh, that would be good for quotes.
Well, unfortunately it's not. She managed the Fulton homes along with Gladys Wright. I talked to Gladys Wright, and Gladys went back and forth when I asked about the Danforth. Mm-hmm. You know, at one point she said she was involved, and the other point she said no, she didn't have anything to do with it. So I kind of went both ways. So there's a couple more things, but the one that's sort of funny is like attending conferences, or like here's a little note: Margaret Fritsch is driving a new Chevrolet coupe in 1949. And here's Margaret Fritsch and Bill Laidlaw. I had seen some mention somewhere of Robert Baldwin. Where did I see that? Yes, here it is. Robert Baldwin is the fellow behind the new face in the redevelopment division. Bob, a draftsman in Margaret Frisch's planning section. Mm-hmm. You know, so she ran a whole planning section.
Yeah.
And then just more on the Gartrell homes. There are people moving into them. And, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be. I was hoping for some really cute little quotes, but they're mostly pretty straightforward. Her article on the slaving of the Fulton homes.
Well, would you say she was a pretty straightforward, no-nonsense person?
Oh, yes.
Really? I thought she was more of a... What
do you mean by straightforward, no-nonsense? I mean, the woman had not a devious bone in her body. She said what kind of went to her mind in a very gracious, lovely way. She was probably the most mentally stable. What's the word? I mean, the woman was just really straightforward. I think that's the word. What do you mean by no nonsense?
Well, planning commissions. Linda was telling me, and I have had some experience myself, where sort of nightmarish things where you have to deal with so many different people's concerns that you really have to cut through it all. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to find a delicate way of saying you deal with it.
Yeah. That Juno article where she tells about twisting the button off just made you think that she was a nervous speaker, a nervous person, and I somehow don't picture her that way, because especially her role as president of these housing authorities, and she was not afraid to take on public roles.
As the first borough planner, they'd never had planning before. They'd never paid taxes before.
She must have been very popular.
Go until 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, she was the kind of person that people never. They could separate professional from personal with Margaret. Could be her best friend socially, and professionally be at odds. She is a very, very, very amazing person. My mother, who was a gerontologist, she went back to school to get a gerontology degree, also did a paper on Margaret. I mean, I think she was sought after by a lot of people. She was just such an amazing person. Truly inspirational. When I called Mary Alice Hutchins, she kept saying, well, she didn't have to do anything. She was an inspiration to all of us,
Yeah, Emma's been real concerned and done a lot of help on.
Was she able to? She wasn't able to even tell you about where Margaret worked and what she did.
She didn't seem to remember that stuff, but she helped me find that house, because she had seen it, and I sent her, I took pictures of like 4 or 5 different houses, and I said, which one is it?
The police lineup.
Yeah, and she had a better visual description than was in that article, so we were able to track it down.
Oh, that's great.
But I asked her about some of the housing authority stuff, and she didn't seem to have any more information.
It just seemed like there was so much construction during the war and so many different projects, and everyone was involved in everything because it had to get done.
She also was a manager of of these slaving. I mean, that must have been something to take on. You know, she was both a planner and you know, that she had several employees that did maintenance, and you know, she really was in a supervisory role in a lot of positions.
I understand there was a high turnover in the wartime housing for employees.
No, according to
This is according to Vanport, which of course is the best documented.
Okay, another interesting fact that we still have 7% of our original tenants, and 10% more have lived on the project over 5 years. So a lot of these projects they didn't have.
That's in the Fulton homes.
That's in Fulton Homes, and that's the Slavin Court project, which is the project she did.
This is 1949, and they were done when?
That one sheet that's a single sheet that identified. Oh, that I didn't even give that to you. This one. 43. I can't read that.
Okay.
I mean, I spent hours
43.
going through boxes. We went through boxes and stuff at the housing authority. They were nice enough to let me just run through their
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Portland Associated Architects, she worked with them, didn't she? There were like 17 affiliated architects, in which case it would be a lot more. I have to check that out.
First I'd known about
I
that.
haven't heard that either. Somebody else did. Somebody else worked with
Portland Associated?
Okay.
Well, I won't guess who yet. I'll just check it out.
But
Johnson, Wallwork, and Duke. Oh, this is a perfect thing for me to have. This is everybody.
it has
Johnson,
everybody.
Wallwork, and Dukehart is Dukehart McKinney eventually. And
really?
this is where she was, and of course A.E. Doyle.
Yes.
Wait a minute, but he's
Pietro.
listed down there for one of these I forget which ones he's listed for.
He says for 2.
And actually there were
Fulton
some that
Homes.
looked like Bruce that could have designed them.
And, oh, this is wonderful. And for A.E. Doyle University Homes. That was right before Doyle died.
Yeah, I see a lot of these things were built and torn down. And we never saw them again.
Oh boy, well that would be interesting. I could trace who was doing what during the war. Pretty good. I can certainly say their offices were working on this. Because the war is so important. The Depression, the war, and then what seems to be this horrible post-war period where everyone had to go into specialties to survive. I guess Portland had a really bad post-war depression. This is according to my Portland history book. And didn't really revive until the 70s when they started being able to build more stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had talked to other architects, Jim Payne, he must be Margaret's age. He died about 5 years ago. And I had talked to him about the war, and he worked at the Kaiser shipbuilding plant doing drawings and stuff for the ships. And I guess that's what and I think somebody mentioned not wanting to do that, and that's why they went to the housing authority.
Oh, really?
That was the choices she had.
This is the one from Astoria. Ebba Wicks Brown.
Okay, that's right. And then she got bored at the housing authority.
Well, she did her work too fast. And she went to work for Beluski.
Yeah, I believe her.
Ebba Wicks did?
Yeah. Mary Alice called her up and said, "Oh, well, come on over here. We need some help." So she did. But she has a really funny story where she describes doing the work too fast, have nothing to do but watch the dentist across the street pull teeth. You can imagine during the war. Well, okay.
You might, if you get a chance, read. Let me see, that's Margaret Fritsch's first story after that induction here. Read that.
Associated Architects.
So, can I take anything for you? Are you still eating?
Oh, I'm done. I just want to.
I was just going to take this back over there and put it in the thing. So I'm going to take yours too.
Why don't I do that for you and you check the article since
Okay.
I know what it is. This is a better use of my time.
I went up to Xerox for a copy of that. Oh, I like these things as favors too. I'll just stick this in here so you'll have it.
Great.
Have it.
Is there a copy of this?
That's why I just took it.
Oh, great.
I made a copy of that. This I should let me copy this for you too. My office is just a block here. We can
Great.
go up there and copy that.
You have to be back there at 1?
Yeah, we're in good shape.
This is so exciting because it was really difficult to write hers.
Yeah.
Really cool. It's like, what can I make up from all these things?
Well, when you realize her career was really, since the 40s, was planning. I mean, and she retired in 74, so.
In 74, at 74, you're right.
She's got 34 to 40 years planning experience. That's really what she spent most of her, except for the early 20 years. That's what she spent most of her career on, was planning efforts.
Well, we only say mostly because she lived and worked so much longer. 20 years would be most people's career. I guess in architecture, everyone really works until they drop.
Yeah.
What a great career.
It's mainly because there's no retirement there. So you don't have any choices.
Member of the board of Neighborhood House.
That's the one I wrote down.
Volunteers Brandon Home for Working Girls. Okay.
They said something about her being a working
This is
girl.
actually, she did not live in Juneau. Hired as a consultant in 1957. Can I write into
Sure.
this?
Oh, yes. Correct.
And I'll just give you
Retired.
this To me, what's missing is the change from architecture to planning, and the emphasis that she really spent her career in that area, and then the civic things would help back that up, I think.
No, that's exactly.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Adrienne, about why she started architecture. Is that covered in that?
There's nothing in there in here about a boyfriend.
About a boyfriend.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out why she started. Oh, there was some interesting, but you had this, right?
Yeah. Doesn't she started in music? Is that what happened?
Be a doctor or something.
Oh, to be a doctor. I think it's probably Ebba that was some music. One of them was a violin student.
What was that?
One of the architects was a violin student. And I think it was Ebba originally, and she started hanging out with someone from design studio and switched the second term into architecture and stayed there.
It wouldn't have been Emma, because with her father being an
Oh, her two
architect, I'm
sisters?
sure she was.
Weren't her two sisters musicians?
Was that Amy Rath, or?
Oh, I get so confused.
Yeah.
If I don't look at my notes, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But there was someone who switched second term. She was had a friend.
Every logical thing that you can think of, I've talked to you about for several months. And what it boils down to is somebody tells me he's deciding on doing something. He likes to get the benefit of the doubt. The service came on Friday. Pulled the starting to go green. No, you need is an algae size. We're all out of algae size. Monday, I take care of it.
This quoting here about her talking about planning became more important to help the whole versus the individual.
This was done on a personal interview, by the way. She flew to Juneau and did this.
She called me back on Saturday.
What year was this?
This says she moved. She didn't. I worked for her in '57. She didn't move to Alaska in '57.
Yeah.
Margaret's moved to Alaska.
That would have been 54, yeah.
It was not until '63.
I did call back.
When you turn to, yeah, this isn't
Not correct.
She was just working up there.
Well, I wish we would have had the resources that the person who did this had had done a better job.
Okay. This is the other thing. I just put this on, tacked this on the cover. This is the stuff, and that's your copy, and
Great.
that's the cover of the other thing.
Okay. And I'll loan this to you while you're finishing this. You want to see the whole.
I'd like to.
Report. Okay, and then you can just give that back to me. I really would like to read that. There was another one that they found that subject on the U of O, and I haven't read it, but the people in our group who reviewed it said some good information, but boy, is this woman pissed off. The woman who wrote it was just really angry, I guess. The other one, the one that was
The other thesis?
Yeah, the U of O one.
Furious. Modernism was the oppressive male phallus.
Yeah.
Crushing everything living and breathing in architecture ever. It was hilarious. It's really quite a great point of view, I must say. She really
It's written in like the 70s or something. It's not
Yes,
even,
she was furious.
earlier.
But she was great. She had a
actually
point.
retired twice, in case you're wondering. 69.
She retired.
Yeah.
She retired twice.
You've been kind of trying to get the life card.
In case it gets lost, I always do
Yes,
this. This is
right.
right.
Well, what I can do is just get a copy right away, I guess.
Well, you're gonna get it. You're gonna, if you use this, you're gonna get a better.
Yeah. I'll call the photographers first and just ask them how I should do this.
You probably can just send it out. They send it out. They can do a 5x7 or an 8x10, and then just crop it the way you want it.
Right.
Tell you what they can do. Heavens, Flashback has a machine where you can just do it yourself. You know.
Yeah. The colors are like
Whatever they want. Yeah. I wish there was more information. I'll call Katie Wintermute today.
Okay.
Dorothy just doesn't.
Yeah.
I can call B. Cannell, her cousin in Seattle. I won't be able. Well, I'd try tonight, but B's not going to know anything, but she might know somebody locally who did. She's related to Margaret too. Margaret really considers me her daughter.
What you need to do is have somebody scrub the side.
It's so great.
Turn the pump on fast.
1987.
Yeah. What it told me in '87, Margaret wasn't that. You know.
That's 4 years forthcoming. She's pretty.
Yeah, that Juneau article really is the best. The best. It's funny, some of these other Portland articles that she talks mainly about Alaska. She won't talk about herself. You know.
She never did. She wasn't the kind ever. She always had a project or something that she was up to, fishing or. She entertained a tremendous amount. She always had people to dinner all the
Brush
time.
only, these introductions that are designated to go to a chipper. It's a lot cheaper.
And she loved fishing. And
Oh,
it's funny because there's several of the other women architects that are all running up to Alaska to go fishing.
with her.
No,
Yeah,
with different
with other
ones,
people, because
yeah,
I know
right.
other people have.
She had her husband down there in those dumpsters.
That's great as far as it's gone. I mean, maybe as far as it can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we can only really have
You
for the
want-
exhibit
you want
about
the
3
markup.
of the double type
You
pages.
can just take that and then.
Well, this was my copy, so I'm going to not get food all over everything. Let me give this to you, Myra, just with
Okay.
the changes.
And I have more copies if you need one that's intact.
Oh, I see. Okay. You don't care about that part, but that's going to change.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I've read it several times. Oh, wait, there was one more piece.
I can write more about the beach house. Were you able to track down the beach house?
We have, for the photographer, I have sent a letter to the occupant.
Uh-huh.
They haven't contacted me back. I've got a phone number.
You're probably thinking some weird new con
Well, I
thing.
practically got chased off by the neighbor when I was just taking shots from the street, so I was able to track down who the person living there was, although they may not have been there. It's a summer home. So I wrote them a letter and sent them a copy of the article and told them what we were doing. Asked them to call
that's a
me.
good idea.
They haven't done it?
Yeah, so
How long ago did you do this?
Oh, it was at least a month ago.
Really? And they haven't called?
Yeah, but it's a summer home too, so
Yeah.
they may have not been there too. Nobody was there when I took the photo.
You don't, who owns it? Do you know?
I can't remember the name. I got it though. The planning building department in Gerhardt was very helpful to track down people.
Were they able to track? Oh, that. Okay.
One thing I do want to write about is that a lot of the women discuss solar design as one of their considerations, situating the house, and then it disappears for about 40 years as a consideration. But there are about 4 or 5 of them that some of the things they remark on their architecture is solar designs and the situation of the house. I mean, I just was really fascinated.
Oh, this is not the good picture. I think I've got another one. But it's, it was done in the 40s or 50s, and it looks like a 40s or, that's it, yeah, better picture. 40s or 50s house, so it may not, and it's only been, the upkeep on it's only been so-so, it's not compared to the other houses around there. Beluski has a house that's about 5 houses from this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if I showed you the picture of that. That's the cabin. So the beach cabin, sort of the U-shaped, and I didn't get to the beach side. See what it looks like.
This is all from the road.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and contact them again one day?
Well, I gave all the stuff to the photographers. They would contact before they went out there.
Have they talked to them at all?
I don't.
The reason I'm questioning you a little bit is I know several people, not well, but casually, who have homes and are very active beach goers to Gerhardt, and I would certainly call 1 or 2 and ask them if they knew the people or anything about it, if you don't get a response.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more she could write about it.
Well, there's sort of 2 things. I had a real problem with the material because the exhibit is so limited in by the space constraints, but there's so much more material that I thought, I have to do a longer version of this stuff for the archives because it'll just get lost. Oh, great. And these people should not be lost. I just luckily had read a book about the first all-woman firm. And it was one of the 3 earliest all-women firms back east. And they do a great analysis of their architectural projects. They divide them up by type. The modern family, the independent woman, and then they have commerce, culture, and the national welfare. And they're great. They interview people that live in the houses about what works and what doesn't work and how they like it. And it's a really interesting approach. And lots of good background.
What's been hard for us as architects is because you see these projects, well, they were done in the 40s, and they look like projects that were done in the 40s, So, somehow we were expecting things that looked like, Reed College or, things that really were reflective. But these were modern women architects, they wanted to be modern, And so most of the projects look like that. And that's why I like the one with the old car. When you see the old car there, then you think, well, it's pretty contemporary for the time, but it's hard to get those dates and make that association and to know much about them.
A lot of the projects just have the same problem with materials that books from the 40s do, where there were just a lot of shortages after the war. So.
And during the war everything was confiscated, and there was confiscated. Yeah.
Margaret always lived in very, very, very old homes. I know of 3 houses that she lived in. One in Lake Oswego was probably one of the original homes in the first edition. And then she lived in a house in Dunthorpe on Redcliffe Road, which was very old. And then she lived up on Heim Street, I think right around the corner from Beluski. And that house wasn't so old. She never lived in a house that she designed.
That she designed.
Yeah. Well, even Beluski, who lives in a house that he designed now, he actually designed it for one of his clients, and it just came up on the market for sale, and he ended up moving it. So a lot of times they don't, live in the house they designed.
Did you design your house?
I'm in the process.
Oh, yeah.
We've been in the process for a long time, though.
Where's it going to be?
Up in the northwest.
Northwest,
Northwest area.
Are you building from scratch?
Yeah.
2 weeks, you did.
We're going to trash everything we've got.
You're going to tear
Totally
down the
trash
house?
it. It's not even, it's a shack. It's not a house. But it's just something that a lot of architects don't get to. They price themselves out of their own market.
My uncle was an architect, and he built himself a calling card. He sort of took all of the money he had, bought this really prime piece of property, put up an extremely weird-looking house, and then had business for the rest of his life. And it was totally controversial. I mean, it was one of those houses, and it was really a very long, low house with a wall all the way around it, and then it had one big, large second-story room that looked out on Lake Michigan. This was the big view, and big glass windows, and then above it, he put in all this decorative, and it was literally called frou-frou in all the cuteness of it. These little fluted things with little circles in them, and that was, it was a really wise thing to do. It was like, what are we going to do with this money? Let's get more money.
Let's do advertising, right? Yeah.
Put a big sign in the front yard.
What does it cost now, roughly, can you give a figure, to construct a single-family dwelling per square foot?
Well, it runs all over the place. You can do it for as cheaply as in the
No, I want to do it really well.
60s and on up.
60 on up.
60s on up. I mean, I've seen $200 a square foot houses.
Just a stand. I'm
Yeah.
checking. I just got my fire insurance bill today. I want to make sure that they're
If you, for
$60 square foot.
on up. Yeah.
What would you
Probably
say?
like
100 square
100.
foot? We could do a good job.
You could do a good job for 100. You could do a good job for 75. Somewhere in that 75 to 100. It just depends on site, materials. I mean, you can blow the whole budget on your flooring and your roofing.
I've got all hardwood floors.
It's like, well, hardwood floors are more expensive than some things, but you can go to tiles and masonry floors that are twice that. So it's you can spend $5 a square foot on up just for the flooring.
Well, I can tell right now I'm underinsured.
Yeah. Well, remodels, I just did a simple, that one that's in canvases, and that one ran $100 a square foot for the remodel. And that was nothing special as far as finishes. In fact, she did all those herself, So remodeling gets to be really expensive. It's hard to, I mean, this was a second story and stuff, so it's more complicated, but...
Well, I've got 1,800 square feet. And they've only got me at 98,000.
Which is how much a square foot?
About 50 cents a square foot, or $50 a square foot.
That's low. You should be higher than that. You wouldn't be able to replace it for that. And especially if you're in a nice area, I mean, you might be able to replace it for $50 a square foot if you want to live in Wilsonville, in a suburb. They could probably replace it for that, but not anywhere else. So I don't really know all the real estate markets, but.
Well, the boy that eats so well.
My house actually makes my land worth less money. My land's worth much more money if my house burns down.
That's the situation I'm in.
If it would just burn down, even if it took everything with it in the house.
My land on the tax rolls is more than my house.
Yeah.
I would hate to try and replace the house. It's built like a rock Gibraltar.
Nice. Yeah. When you worked for Margaret, we really talked about that, all these planning projects that she did for all these towns. Were they like urban planning, or was it zoning and
more just doing a comprehensive plan and zoning, and a
she
very
was
basic
setting them all up and getting
Right.
their processes going?
Right. And there was a
Traffic
lot of
flow?
federal money. There was a lot of federal money in those days. These are pretty small towns. I mean, we're talking back in the 50s.
Party Friday nights.
When those areas were pretty small. And they were very basic in the way of plans.
So it was just helping them set up the whole process of zoning. And I like that quote talking about Juneau, and where she came in to do urban renewal, and then she looked at the buildings and decided that they didn't need to tear them all down, and they still hired her.
That's what I meant about
Yeah.
straightforward. I'm sorry there wasn't enough work here.
It shocked me. The town was one big. I mean, I was very surprised by that comment because the whole town was just a urban renewal project. I don't understand that, but I have to believe that whatever they were going to do, she must have said that.
As we said, it was a very small area that they wanted. It just didn't feel that within that area, she said there were some terrible things, but not enough to raise and rebuild.
Because back then, that's what they mainly did, was raise and rebuild. They didn't work around existing buildings. And so for her to see that, and especially in Alaska, I always think of Alaska as cheap construction.
You were right on, in
gold rush.
1800s, right? You know, and gone through hard winters and big winds, and but I don't know where they were proposing the urban renewal project.
Yeah, it's this very specific area of town that they were talking about.
There's only about one area of town, you know, where on the high. It's pretty bad condition.
It's in this article.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's, yeah. I meant to see this part of it. Is this a newspaper? I was wondering what format this was originally.
Yeah, it's newspaper.
From second to... See, you actually know it. It's fourth, and from Franklin to Gold. Second and fourth, and Franklin to Gold.
Fourth.
It's probably
Franklin.
But for me, it's
Oh yeah, there were some nice houses, little houses in there.
But this has got the most specific information on anything that,
I'll have fun reading it.
covered. Yeah.
Well, are we...
I think we are.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.